right, so my movement here is going to be the X3 row. You can do it overhand, underhand. Um, Overhand, if you're at a 45-degree angle with the upper body, you're going to hit more of the upper back. If you bend over a little more and do the underhand grip and roll it to the like belt line and squeeze together hard, you're going to get a little bit more lat into it. And it was kind of, there was a Mr. Olympia at one time was Dorian Yates, and it was one of his biggest movements was the underhand row, and it got called the Yates row for that. But his back shot, he would start like this and then squeeze the back together and then spread it out. But when he would squeeze together like that, the development was unbelievable, and you could tell it came from a lot of that rowing. I did overhand for years, and by using too much load, bands aren't going to cause as big of an issue. But too much load overhand, stuff started rolling forward, and I started to collapse the lower back. The row with the X3 has helped me reverse a little bit of, especially the pulled stuff around my shoulder blades. Tissue got so tight that I actually pulled a lat up underneath my shoulder blade on the left side. I still have some issues from that, but all that area where the lat and the teres muscles and the rear delt, where everything combines right there, it was just a big wad of scar tissue. And my shoulder had been brought in and like collapsed, and then there was a point when I would try to do like a lat spread like this, my shoulder was so crammed down that I couldn't do it. And then if I was to do a bicep pose like this, I couldn't get the full external rotation, and my delt would be like flat, where on this side, like you would do this and then you'd see the delt bump up. And it was because everything got, my spine and everything went down, everything got compressed. And then as I started doing some different movements properly and then using the resistance bands with the X3, stuff started to erect. And as my spine erected, then all of a sudden my shoulders had to start coming back out, and it caused that for a while. And even my pec and everything got so tight I could feel just the strands of it clear to here, and my rib cage was pulled out. But through some specialty movements and using the X3, the deadlift, the banded shoulder press, the underhand row, and the Zercher squat, things like that, I have reversed a lot of that stuff. Then, of course, mobility work, a lot of hanging, pulling of the neck, inversion table, things like that. That's irrelevant for the most part here, but for people that have some issues going on or experience some discomfort after starting to use heavier bands, a lot of it is straightening people out. I know a lot of people end up kind of hunchbacked, their necks forward, and they got kind of a hunchback going on, and eventually that'll start to straighten out, and it can become uncomfortable, and you'll have to have somebody, you're gonna have to stretch your neck a lot and have somebody pull on it, things like that. there was even a point I couldn't do lateral raises because my shoulders then went down and everything under here was so tight that my femur was pulled up underneath the socket, like, and it eventually had to stretch out from hanging and come out enough. So I highly recommend band work no matter what you're doing, powerlifting, bodybuilding, just wanting to get in shape. The average person can use bands for just getting in shape and they can look good. But if you're like a really high level competitive bodybuilder, powerlifter, whatever, of course you'd have to use some weights, but I would use the X3 first to make sure everything is being maintained and pulling where it should be. The ligaments stay strong and everything's warmed up and full of blood really good before you even touch a weight. And you get most of your exhaustion out of the bands and then just do whatever bit of weight training is necessity after that. But that's a little more explanation needed to be just for this movement. But now I'm going to show you my version of the bent over row with the X3. First off, this is a serious steel band. I like it grows the tension really rapidly. I have the black Paraforce. It's the same length, but for this movement, for some reason, this is a 37-inch band. The 41-inch would be a little too long because when I stretch my arms out at the beginning, I would have no tension. And so with the 37-inch, I stretch out, I still have tension. And then by the time I hit my waist, I'm really squeezing hard, like as hard as I can. This is the one I'm sticking with for right now. Again, make sure the bands are overlapped. Center the band on the hooks the best you can. Then I get the underhand grip. Now you can see right here, this is the tension. This is the very beginning of the tension. So then when I come up like this, I have plenty of tension on there now. I keep my head up. I don't round like this and roll up. I make sure my lats keep me upright. And then I roll into my waist. Try to get up one more time. Hold it. Come down. Partial. Oh, that's it. I could feel pretty much my whole back being involved right up to the lower traps. I try to focus mostly on driving the elbows back and squeezing the back. I don't really think about my biceps. I pretend the bar's not there, as if it was just hanging off my arm. And I use, but like trying to drive my elbows up and squeezing the back together. And I use the bicep as little as possible. But there is my version of the row, and then to hit the upper back some, there is the way of overhand, and then a little more of a upright stance, and come in like this, like that, and you're going to end up hitting a little more of the upper back, the wrong, like Terry's major, still some rear delt, rhomboids, some traps, things like that. I prefer the supinated grip with a little more, just being a little more bent over. But that's that.